Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Today I want to do a retro review and teardown of a Nintendo Entertainment System. Once again, this is a system that absolutely won't turn on, and so far I have managed to find out why. But this is one that, of course, it's so old I don't want to throw it out. I'm going to keep this thing around forever if I have to, whether I get it working or not, because, Jesus, a Nintendo, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, this thing's already been unscrewed for the most part, so it's not going to take us too much time to get through this. Now, the Nintendo system, the NES, was the American version of the Super Famicom, or the Super Family Computer that was released in Japan a little while earlier. So this unit took the markets by storm, and they really had to do a lot of marketing to get this right. They really had to push a lot of things into this in order to get the Nintendo selling right, because the video game community crashed in '83 and stayed dead afterwards. If you were a consumer, you didn't really realize it because you were getting everything cheap or free for all of your Atari things. The video game prices came right down. Atari was releasing so much crud the consumers couldn't keep up, their pocketbooks couldn't keep up, and there was computer systems, video game systems released by Atari that I'm only really learning about today in my 30s. Just they went in all different directions. It totally screwed up, and because of that, there was a lack of hope in the system. There wasn't enough money to keep everybody going, and that really hurt the manufacturers. Sorry, not the manufacturer, but the retailers. Retailers had to foot the bill and keep a lot of this stuff on their shelves that they could hardly sell. Another interesting point is the Atari, the original Atari 2600, had a problem that anybody could make one. All the parts were standardized. You didn't have to have any special anything in order to make a game. If you knew a little bit about hardware, bam, you could make an Atari game no problem. So ultimately, none of the manufacturers, none of the retailers had any faith in any video game system, so Nintendo really had to pump the gas on this. What they had to do was they had to put Rob, the robot, in with it. They had to tell the retailers that they would buy back anything that was unsold, because again, retailers have been burned. And this was so awesome. Nintendo Entertainment System was so awesome. The Mario Duck Hunt, it amazed everybody so much. It single-handedly brought us out of the dark ages of the video game crash. And I kind of fear we're getting into a video game crash these days, but I digress. We won't get into that right now. But yeah, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Everybody had one of these, or you knew somebody who had one of these. And it was a big deal back then. Even to this day, I still get cravings to play Mario and Duck Hunt. Anyways, once you get her off, you get the heat shield right here. After you get the heat shield off, you can see this is where the game went, of course. Yeah, you're stuck in the game. You notice that even when I click this down, that part doesn't do anything. This thing was made to be done on an angle. They really should have had the game be installed from the top. There was a system later on, and NES ended up being a top loader system, but unfortunately this wasn't like that. Anyways, what it had to do is it had to get its pins at an angle. It caught the pins at an angle, and because of the connector, which is this connector right here, forget how many pins it is. You can get one of these off eBay for like 30 bucks, but the ones you get off eBay are really solid, very solid, and it will really keep your game in there. And yeah, that's this piece right here is the issue. You can blow into your games, but basically that's just going to make the contacts pick up a little more and help it erode, help it get rusty, ultimately. That is your main issue right there. So unfortunately they made that kind of cheap, and everybody remembers having to blow into their systems. Once again, unfortunate, but it's just how it goes. So there actually is a lot of wires to this. I don't really want to take all the wires apart. I don't want to take this thing past the line of no return. NTSC, and this says 1987 on it. I'm kind of inspired by all of this wiring. Very nice. Actually, I never noticed this before. It looks like if you want to add something to the unit. Oh yeah, again, I remember that. I've seen that before. Yeah, if you want to expand the unit, no expansions were ever brought out that I know of, but I'm sure if you're developing a game or if you're troubleshooting a system, that would help out quite a bit. Actually, Nintendo would repair these things for a very long time. I'm pretty sure Nintendo repairs for the NES went on even after the year 2000. It was really impressive. Now, it must have been like 2010 that they finally stopped taking in their own systems and repairing them. It was amazing. Nintendo really looks after their stuff. Yep. Interesting though, you remember when I opened the Sega, I seen a few wires run here to there. Usually they only do that in repairs, and it kind of made me think that the board was designed pretty poorly on the Genesis, but I don't see any problems here. I like everything I see. Oh, I love these buttons. That takes me back. Everything about this takes me back. So nice. So beautiful. The NES system. If you remember good times. Very good times. But anyways, of course, now Nintendo isn't what it used to be. There was the video game war between Nintendo and Sega. So Sega had a system out to compete with this called the Master System, and back then the goal was everybody wanted to be like an arcade game. And honestly, the Master System was a bit more like an arcade game, but overall I definitely prefer the NES. I never had any problems with the Master System as far as having to blow into it or anything quite like that. But still, the master, the champion. I don't care that you don't work. I am not throwing you out. I have other systems I opened I couldn't fix that I threw out. But you gotta respect your elder folks. Anyways, this is Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. If you like retro reviews, let me know. Like and subscribe. Have a good one, guys. Catch you later. Bye-bye.